Greece is said to be preparing $6.5 billion of additional deficit cuts tomorrow as the country struggles to tame the region's biggest budget shortfall. To break down its plans, I'm joined by Axel Merk, president of Merk Investments. Axel, thanks very much for joining us. Let's talk, first of all, about putting Greece into perspective. You say it's important, and you point out that maybe a lot of people don't think about this, but you can't wind down a country. It's not like a company or a bad bank. I mean, it's always going to exist, and it just bleeds, causing real pain for the people who live in it and also problems for the European Union.
Well, exactly. An investment bank evaporates if they don't have access to overnight funding. A country bleeds. A country never gets their act together fully. Look at California. Look at the U.S. federal government. Sure, we sometimes try to tackle our problems better than other days, but we never fix them. And so similarly with Greece, Greece's woes are going to continue. Ultimately, though, I believe Greece's issues will be seen in context of what they are. Greece makes up 2% of the Eurozone GDP. And we don't think that they're, even in the case of default, that the fallout in the Eurozone will be limited. And the reason is because we know the playbook to crises. The European Central Bank would provide unlimited liquidity. A country like Germany would support its banking system. And so while Greece certainly has issues, we do think that they can refinance their debt. But if they had huge issues, we don't think that fallout would be as severe as the market has priced in. A
fallout of a bailout, or the fallout of an actual default? I mean, do you think it could actually come to that?
Well, things are never black and white. I don't think there's going to be a default. I don't think that the bailout is going to be as clear-cut as possible. We already have in the European Union funds go to Greece and other weaker countries all the time. The European Investment Bank does that. KfW, the German investment firm arm, does a lot of that as well. Sure, there will be some more coordination, but ultimately what the real problem is that countries had access to too cheap financing for too long. So the fiscally irresponsible were not punished. And now the market is stepping in where the policymakers failed. Greece has to pay more for its debt because of their reckless behavior. And they will fix some of that. But that's just how the game is played, that if you spend more money, you pay more for the debt. And Greece doesn't like it, but they'll have to live with that, and they'll get used to it. They'll fix some of the issues, but certainly not all of them.
Now, the Greek government, Axel, will announce tomorrow $6.5 billion of additional deficit cuts tomorrow. Give me some perspective on that figure and how much of a dent it makes.
Well, it makes a big dent because the entire GDP of Greece is about 350 billion or so. It's about a 40th of the size of the U.S. So from that point of view, it makes a dent. But here I'd like to also make a larger point. In Greece, at least we talk about cutting spending. In the U.S., we don't think about spending cuts. The pay-go rules we recently instituted are pretty useless. And so at least in the Eurozone, you have a political and a force that forces companies to reduce the spending, even if not all these spending cuts are implemented. In the U.S., when we have a problem, we print more money. In the Eurozone, at least the countries are forced to reduce their spending. And as a result, we believe the euro will come back. There's a major buying opportunity for the euro. It will be on the backdrop of less economic growth because less money is being printed.
All right, you mentioned the euro, but what's going on with pound sterling? It's really being punished lately because of a different issue going on in the UK. Can you outline that for us?
Well, we call the Bank of England the yo-yo central banks because of its erratic behavior. If you want to look into the future, what's going to happen in the U.S., look at the UK. They have many of the same challenges. At the same time, the UK doesn't have the depth of the credit markets. And so when there is a funding shortfall, you see it happening with the cost of borrowing going up. Another issue in the UK is there are elections coming up, and there is no clear winner. That means there's going to be no strong government. And these are huge challenges. The Brits have not corrected their issues. And yeah, we have to monitor UK closely. I believe the UK is a much bigger story than Greece is.